In this episode, we discuss Microsoft allowing Call of Duty to come to Nintendo consoles. Welcome to the Switch Clicks podcast, episode 127, recorded on March 14th, 2023. My name is Nathan, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts, Coda.
Yo.
And Tyler.
Hello, it's been a minute. I think it's been like 2 podcast episodes maybe that I skipped out on.
I lost track already.
Fair enough.
So anyways, a few weeks back, Microsoft signed this legally binding agreement with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty games to Nintendo consoles. Presumably, they didn't really specify when this will happen. It'll just be 10 years straight on. And they didn't specifically say Nintendo Switch. They just said Nintendo platforms because as of right now, there hasn't been a Call of Duty game on Nintendo consoles for, I believe, now it's been a decade.
Yeah, at least since the Wii U.
Yeah, because the Wii U ended off with Call of Duty Ghosts in 2013, I believe.
Do you think they'd pull like a Just Dance and release it on the Wii still?
Probably not.
yeah, that's gonna be that's.
You think the
Wii.
Wii can't handle Warzone? What are you saying?
It'll be pixels by then.
I think Warzone might be bigger than the Wii, like in file sizes.
Oh, 100%. 100% it is. It's already outpaced a bunch, like even the Switch already. Even the Switch OLED.
The first question I'd say is which one would it be? Which Call of Duty could it be? And I'm thinking whatever the next one is, probably not this year's because they just made that deal. But maybe next year's or at least the year after that.
Now, let's consider this though. Microsoft still does have assuming they do fully acquire Activision Blizzard, which it might
happen.
Might be delayed, but might still happen. There is a chance they'll still have to develop the game and completely optimize it for PlayStation and then they have to complete the whole contract first, where they get PlayStation exclusivity, before they can start freely doing whatever they want.
Yeah. So I think you're probably right, Coda. It might not be the next one, but I feel like one of the next 2, after that, will probably be on the Switch, or if a console is announced within that time, whatever console comes out.
Yeah, odds are it's going to be a Warzone port. Just because that has the most money that can be made.
Exactly. Yeah. Microtransactions, battle royale, crossovers, you name it.
Actually, I don't play Warzone. Does it have crossover?
It does.
It does have crossplay.
Oh no,
obviously
not Goku's in it, but do they have?
I believe Shredder was recent. I'm not sure if that was actually Shredder. I just saw an article talking about it, but they did have a couple of crossovers recently.
Yeah, the only ones that I can remember is they had a really, really bad Attack on Titan skin.
Yeah.
And they had it where you can play as Ghostface from Scream.
Oh, there we go. Yes. Okay, so I just searched it up. Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is now in Warzone.
What?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Crossing over.
I mean, that's
kind of cool.
Yeah.
I guess wherever you can place your marketing. Because I'm pretty sure, is Scream not in Fortnite?
No.
No.
That is insane. How is it not? Okay, never mind then. I thought there'd be a little more crossover there. That feels like something that has to be put into Fortnite at some point. But, oh well.
We've seen an uptick in Spotify listeners. This might mean that most of you don't know that we actually upload a lot of extra content on our YouTube channel. We upload game reviews of anything. We upload extra rants that we want to go on. as well as we dive deep into each Splatfest that comes along. Check it out in the show description. On to the episode.
My next question, I guess, would be if I know they signed for Call of Duty to be brought over, but I feel like that is like a beginning, right? Because Call of Duty is like the big, easy one that people know the name of.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll give it? They might put some other stuff on there.
Well,
I imagine
they've already done Overwatch, and they've already done
Banjo, technically.
Banjo, right? Skylanders, Spyro, anything that isn't like necessarily hardware intensive, they've already done for sure. Oh, Diablo.
Okay, there's just a lot more than I thought. Basically, maybe that question was dumb.
No, well, okay, like Activision still has a huge plethora of games that they just haven't released in general. And Call of Duty is definitely on that list because it takes up. How many Call of Duties do we have now? I lost. It's way more. It's probably getting close to. Wow, I lost count for sure.
There are apparently 21 mainline Call of Duty.
Yeah, so like over 20. So we're talking like over 20 COD games potentially.
And they might. Actually, I wouldn't be that surprised if they ported over like really old ones as like a hey, remember this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I know people
a legacy collection. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, or something like that.
I'd love that.
Because I know a couple people that still really want to go back and play like the first Black Ops or something for nostalgic cases.
If Nintendo can pull off a deal with Microsoft to get exclusive rights to a Black Ops collection, they'd be foaming at the mouth.
I would be foaming at the mouth. That's at least 3. That's at least like 4 or 5 games in that collection. Way more. Technically, way more than that. But
yeah, and I don't know if it's obvious to listeners, but I have very minimal experience with Call of Duty. Tyler has
me too.
Maybe 0.
I have played maybe 2 hours of Call of Duty in my life.
I am a retired COD kid from the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 days.
If I'm being honest, I did not even remotely peg you as a COD kid until I realized, until I saw you playing the game. It is a very, fair enough. I never played the games. It's a very interesting game series. Do you think they'll put like a Mario hat in a COD game?
Never.
Well, no. Okay,
not even like a Wario hat.
Nope.
In a display shelf on a very, very side, in a hidden, obscure side of the mission, sure. They've done that with Zelda, but that was very, very brief.
Okay, maybe something they care less about. Do you think they'll put like a Kid Icarus weapon into?
No, I'm thinking the closest they'll do is like a little Pikmin guy. That's it.
Oh, okay, I can see a Pikmin being.
If you say Kid Icarus,
got a gun.
Pikmin gets a gun.
It's way too big for him. He's like stumbling around with this big gun in his hands.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen. If I'm being.
No, it's definitely not.
Yeah, it's
Pikmin are too small.
It has to be very, very, very small.
It doesn't make any sense. So that's why they wouldn't put them in. In fact, how do we know they're not already in the game? They're just so small you can see them.
True.
Pikmin 4 level where it's just Call of Duty map, but really, really big.
You're just in a war zone. Oh my gosh. Anyways.
Yeah, this article that we found on IGN also stated the interview that they had with what's his name? The guy in charge of Microsoft.
I cannot find a name on this article. I've been searching this entire time we're looking.
It's probably on the Nintendo Life article.
Activision CEO Bobby Kotick.
Yeah, Bobby Kotick.
Whatever he is.
Yeah, so basically what they wanted to aim for is giving a whole streamlined approach to this in the sense that they're not going to compromise anything about graphics and performance. They're not going to be removing content. They're not going to be changing content. They're going to keep it all the same. That's what they're saying. But do you think that's possible?
Did they remove content for the Wii and the DS when they put stuff on there?
Well, the DS was a completely different game.
Yeah. I think I threw the DS in there as like a bone. It's mostly the Wii I'm talking about.
Yeah, so the Wii... okay, so only one COD game on the Wii has actually had all content. Everything has been removed, basically.
Okay. I do remember hearing that the Wii ones were pretty good because the motion controls were actually well implemented.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing, but underrated as hell.
I will say my only Blizzard joke. They have said a lot and done a lot. Was it all truthful? No.
Yeah. Take everything they say with the tiniest salt.
Now, mind you, this deal is, I guess, a legal deal. We don't have any like proof other than the white screen they posted on Twitter with black text. As well as right now they're in a legal battle with the government so they can own this company. So this is 1 billion% a political move so they can own the company and they won't take the license away from PlayStation.
Yeah, this is pretty much the one kid just bought all the toys in Walmart, but like handed a couple of them out. So that people don't think they're mean. But this would be, I feel like, a big deal breaker for some people. Will it be cloud play?
No.
Because it might be. If I'm being completely honest, is like Apex cloud play?
Nope. That's a complete.
Okay,
that's a
maybe
full
not then.
port.
Maybe not then.
That's why I say that Warzone is the only one that will natively run on the Switch, and any future ones, I would not be. There is a very large percentage chance that it will be cloud play.
Yeah, the like sticker of death in front of the little box. What the box? It's not a box. What am I trying to say? The
box art.
Wow. Yeah. I'm completely. How did I blank on that? Anyway.
Well, speaking of the sticker, though, I think this has been a well-known issue with COD games nowadays, even for the modern platforms. Like I'm talking PS5 and Xbox Series X. One of the biggest problems with Call of Duty is storage, and I believe this is this is well known. And it's largely the reason why, like, you really need high-end specs for this game. But if Microsoft were to try to push it for the Switch, what it could also mean is potentially making the games better optimized for all these other platforms and not absolutely eating up your hard drive.
Not happening. Not in a million years.
Your character can be 2 pixels on the screen.
Exactly.
Because I mean, like, look,
still the same size.
If you look at it from, like, at least in comparison to other games, there are other games that look just as impressive as Call of Duty, or they run just as impressive, but they don't take up that much space. Like Call of Duty's amount, like the amount of storage required for Call of Duty is absurd even for today's standards.
Yeah, you wouldn't even be able to download Call of Duty on something smaller than a 250 gigabyte.
Yeah, pretty much. Thing. Like if you want like all the current games with the DLC, all the updates and Warzone combined, you're probably going to need to buy a server for
2 PCs.
2 PCs, maybe like set up like a server room and like a couple gotta get
under your
all
desk,
that cooling
you have
set up.
like your normal PC and then one just labeled Call of Duty.
Yeah, one just labeled Call of Duty. Like I'm not even talking extra hard drives or extra this is a full-blown extra
computer. Yeah, to change out all the HDMI plugs to make sure your monitor can work, because you just have a fully secondary PC for Call of Duty. And it still is too small.
Yeah, it's still too small. It's gonna run the game like a potato.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what I think. Microsoft's by going for Nintendo, it means that the devs are obligated to sort of chill out a bit and like focus on making their games actually good and not bloated.
Yeah, I feel like
All this
that's a
fat.
very potential good ending. It's like the good end. The good ending is that they optimize their games better, and maybe they don't steal all the Activision toys for themselves. Maybe they're a little friendlier with it. And
Activision
then
toys.
I don't know what bad ending is would bad ending be that Activision just doesn't get sold? But that also just sounds like that also sounds like a good ending.
Well,
Well,
if Activision doesn't get sold, they're gonna go out of business. So
yeah, they're gonna go bankrupt. They're gonna be like closing studios, laying off so many workers.
That's
Overwatch
true.
is gonna die. Like even as successful
Oh
as that game
no.
is, they're gonna die. Diablo's gonna die, even though that has been largely successful as well.
That is true, I guess.
Basically, like the entire thing will collapse. Hey, you won't see
Hmm.
Candy Crush anymore.
Wait, Activision owns Candy Crush?
yeah, they
I
own
did
King.
not know that.
Yeah,
That's
King.
crazy.
What's kind of
Huh.
like EA with PopCap.
Yeah, I did
Except
know EA
PopCap
owned
is like
Pop.
dead.
I know that because they went back and updated the Plants vs Zombies, like the original Plants vs Zombies, and just added microtransactions, which is a very funny thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's not quite. It's a win-win situation if you play 3 video games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like in the long run, do you think this is a sustainable plan though? Like, is this something that they could really try to hold, or do you think they're just going to go back to their ways
If
of?
if this goes through, does PlayStation still get Call of Duty, or is it now just a Xbox, PC, Nintendo thing?
Well,
Everyone?
right now it should be everybody.
Yeah.
Currently, Sony and Microsoft are kind of squabbling with that.
Yeah.
Since Call of Duty makes so much money, it's crazy how much money.
Mhm.
And you think about all the purchases that go through the PlayStation store, like, and then
Yep.
they take what 30%, you could guess.
Uh-huh.
So if Call of Duty makes $1 billion, they get 300 million. That's a crazy amount of money in the gaming space.
Yeah. It's also insane to me always how much money video games make. Like they don't actively flaunt it like you do with movies, but the fact that like I'm willing to bet like a major Nintendo release probably makes more money than like a Disney movie.
A few of them definitely.
Some of them, yeah.
Like
Which
Breath of
is
the Wild. I
very
don't know,
strange.
Nathan. Do you know how much Breath of the Wild sold off the top of
I
your head?
completely forgot. I have not looked into that.
Okay, so let's just say 20 million copies, and I'm pretty sure it did more than that. But 20 million copies times $60, 20 million times $60. Of course,
little
Nintendo
closer to
doesn't get
30.
all of that, but let's just say that's $1.2 billion.
Yeah,
than
and
a
it sold
film.
29 million. So it's quite a bit higher than that as well. That
Yeah,
is
so if Breath of the Wild made
that's-
at least $1 billion, boom.
yeah, that is crazy. Because like even Nintendo isn't the biggest one. Like Nintendo games sell well because they're Nintendo games, but like people are always like, "Oh, Nintendo's like small pickings compared to the other two," which is so funny because I feel like most people would think that like, well, Disney's obviously still a bigger company, but
Mhm.
you'd always like assume, oh, Warner Bros is bigger than Nintendo, and I'm not entirely sure if that's true.
In a few years, probably not.
Oh, ouch.
it's
I'm just
true.
speaking facts.
Warner Bros is doing rough, and Nintendo is doing quite well. So,
Yeah.
as much as I hope Warner Bros picks itself up, not sure if that's going to happen. But that's a story for another day, I think.
Yes, indeed it is. Now, with your limited knowledge of Call of Duty games, if they were to remove content from Call of Duty games just to get it on the Switch, what would you want them to remove first? The campaign, the multiplayer, Zombies or Warzone?
There's multiple ways you can think about this. You can think about it from the player's perspective or the business perspective. The business perspective says remove the single player, charge people for zombies maps, and keep the multiplayer because there's a lot of money in that.
You disgust me.
The player perspective is it's okay that you remove the single player, but I'd like to keep that. And the multiplayer, everything is free. So
I think I don't know. Would the multiplayer be like the thing to go? Because
there's no shot.
No, multiplayer is very, very mainstream.
I just assumed that Warzone would be the one that takes all the multiplayer players, but I guess I'm wrong.
Surprisingly not. People just want to hop onto like a casual team deathmatch game, and that's
I know Zombies has like a big fan base, but that probably would be the one to go because it isn't the first thing like a casual player would think of, I think, when you're playing Call of Duty, even though that's the only reason I have the 2 hours I have in Call of Duty is because I wanted to try out the zombies mode.
Yeah, that's the only reason I have like 80 hours on Black Ops 3.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. As much as I hate to say it, zombies nowadays sucks. Like it's really garbage on newer COD games. And everyone's been gravitating towards getting a PC and then hopping onto Black Ops 3 specifically to play modded maps or, like crazy modded maps and custom maps because I think they just want a simple experience. The current COD Zombies is like a super generic PvE zombie game. Like it doesn't have its identity anymore. It's not survival. You're completing the objective now, and like there's no memorable characters. You're just playing characters from Warzone now. And I don't know. I'd be completely fine if they removed it because I have older COD games to play.
You heard
I guess
it here
you have
first.
to think about how zombies would run on the Switch because you have to think about how many entities there are. If there's like after round, I don't know, 15, there's like 100 zombies each round.
Well, okay.
3 zombies in your Switch explode.
So historically speaking, I'm not sure what the modern games do nowadays, but like throughout COD games, they always limited it, the entities to 24.
Wow, that's really low.
Yeah, really low, but like that still made the game really difficult. Like, okay, sure, each round you get a total, like a much, much higher total number of zombies, but like to spawn in the map at once, you only get like up to 24.
All right.
And that could be the case here. I know they did set lower limitations on weaker platforms. Like if you were to think back to Black Ops 3 on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, that game is complete garbage, still playable, and they just lowered the cap on it, the entity cap on it. So I can imagine they can do it here.
You still have as many entities as you want, but the up the horror in quotation marks, you put the render distance down to like 5 centimeters.
Fog everywhere?
Yeah.
24/7 fog?
It's really, really foggy. Because it's spooky, that's why.
The
The zombies still pop in front of you.
The faces are pale and undefined. Faces are very pale and undefined.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna give you a picture of how bad it can just get. You're gonna be very scared of this.
And for all the listeners, they'll be like, "Huh?"
Yeah, you can actually find some memes about this on YouTube. It was completely memed on.
Okay, so for anyone listening, I'm not sure if this picture will show up on the video because it is very low quality. But imagine like a nice render, and then that same render with no saturation. If on like the right you have a nice 3D model that looks like something out of it's a low quality picture, but I'd say like a PS4 game, like a Star Wars Battlefront 2 character model.
Specially
on
designed.
The left, you might also have Star Wars Battlefront 2, but like the one from 2004. That's probably what you're working with. In like if the right side is like a game, like a proper video game, the left side looks like a Skyrim modded map.
In development.
Mm-hmm.
Work in progress. Beta testing.
It is
not even beta.
Great.
This is why I'm scared when they say, "Yeah, we're gonna put the same effort we do into the Xbox and PlayStation versions as we will in the Nintendo versions," because they don't put any effort in at all.
Yeah. As in, they just outsource it to some random developer, or they don't pay them enough. They also they put them on a rush schedule, and they don't have quality control.
Like Pokemon.
Yeah.
This is actually worse than Pokemon.
Worse.
What?
Worse.
How?
Let's just say they like abandoned the game after maybe 2 updates and just never touch it again.
Oh, well, I mean, that sounds like what Ilka did with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, so...
Well, at least that game is still somewhat playable from a certain point of view.
It took a little bit for them to get, like, network connectivity working, but we're there now.
Yeah. I think with Call of Duty games, though... Oh, what are you about to say?
If they are going to port anything, just give it to Panic Button. They've done a good job.
Yeah, please give it to Panic Button. They're actually experienced. Although, here's a fun fact though. Treyarch, one of the main developers for Call of Duty, actually does have experience working with Nintendo consoles. They were responsible for all of the ports for the Wii and the Wii U, and they're the ones who developed all of the Black Ops games.
Well, I've heard good things about the Wii U ports, the Wii ports at least, so they might be a good pick in that case.
Yeah, I'd say like the latter half of the Wii ports were better. They actually had all the features in there, or most of the features at a basic level. The graphics were definitely not up to par,
yeah,
but they managed to make good use of the colors. I'd say better than what you see on the screen right here.
Better than desaturated Skyrim map.
Exactly. Yeah, better than desaturated Skyrim map. Like at least back in the day,
Skyrim
they kind of
run on the Switch. So
yeah, Skyrim can run on the Switch.
So this can definitely this not very good looking version, but still.
Actually, I kind of take that back. Skyrim can't really run on the Switch anymore with the
that's a little worrying.
Anniversary edition stuff, killing the game.
Well,
but there could be it's a gamble. We don't know what exactly they're planning to do with this 10-year legally binding deal. I also really hope they don't resort to streaming because the streaming games hasn't been perfected yet.
Yeah.
Like I know Microsoft does it really well, Game Pass, they managed to do it really good on mobile phones, but it still has issues.
My little since getting a PS5 and like switching over instead of Game Pass getting the PlayStation variant, the streaming isn't the worst thing in the world, but it also kind of sucks. So I would be against stream games at least until it is okay.
Yeah, once the technology has been perfected, I'll be fine with streaming games. But as of right now, like if Microsoft were to do that for COD, I would never pay money for that. I'm just gonna screw off, go back to the older games and play those instead. Thank you for joining us in discussing Microsoft allowing Call of Duty to come to Nintendo consoles. We would love it if you could follow us on Twitter and listen to future episodes on Spotify and iTunes. Join our community Discord server to continue today's discussion. And we'll see you next time on the Switch Clicks podcast.